Hey, how's it going everyone? It is Only here, welcome back to another video course as always. Let's go over the PlayStation Showcase that just happened 2 days ago on Wednesday and go over all the announcements. If you missed my video yesterday, I went over everything that happened after the showcase, the whole entire mess that was pre-orders and lack of communication really from Sony regarding all the important information that this showcase really should have, explained in great detail, because that's what this showcase was supposed to do. But regardless, go into the actual contents today in that showcase because we got quite a bit of good stuff there. They opened up the show with Final Fantasy 16 and yeah, it looks really good. As I said in my predictions video, I was expecting this. It's been heavily rumored. I believe it was really rumored to be actually in the original June showcase, but it didn't end up being there. Final Fantasy 16, of course, being a game that has been long, overdue for an announcement since 15 was quite a few years back. And yeah, it looks really good. We have no time frame on this. We've only really been told that more information's coming next year. It looks really good. How I best described it, I know a lot of people say it looks like The Witcher 3. I get that, but to me it kind of looks like Fire Emblem Three Houses from that art direction kind of, but like if Sony made it, I don't know. It looks really good. I want to get into Final Fantasy more. I still have to play 15. I really loved 7, the remake. It's probably my game of the year so far. It's up there at least, and yeah, can't wait for that. It looks like it's going to be 6 months timed exclusive. If you don't remember, this is kind of like one of those games where Sony's, buying in and, using their Sony cash, I guess, for the exclusivity rights. Seems like it's going to come to PC 6 months later and Xbox a full year later. So, yeah, you can't imagine that this game's coming out soon considering Final Fantasy time is a thing and, it's always announced years before they end up coming out. But here's hoping this game's not too far away. They continued on with the show with Miles. I knew this was going to be kind of like towards the beginning of the show because, it was in the last one. It just made sense for that. Yeah, the gameplay looks really good. I'm not going to lie to you and say it like impressed me a ton. I mean, it still looks really good. It's definitely a step up from, Spider-Man PS4. That being said, I'm not going to lie. It didn't like blow me away or anything. I'm still going to play it and have a lot of fun with it. I know what to expect. It's Spider-Man. Definitely, some fun to be had there. There wasn't a release window given at the actual conference, which I found really odd. I was thinking maybe they're going to save it for the end. But after the show, we did end up finding out that this is going to be a launch title. Not only that, it's actually going to have a deluxe edition that includes Marvel Spider-Man PS4. The sad thing is, you actually have to buy the deluxe edition to get those upgrades. Pretty much, there's no standalone upgrade that you can buy. Not to mention that a lot of people feel like this should be something that's given out for free, considering, what Xbox is doing on their side, as well as a lot of other games giving you free upgrades. In terms of where I stand, yeah, I think it's more shitty in the fact that they're making you pay $70. Like, I don't mind paying a bit for the upgrade, considering, it seems like what from Insomniac said on the PlayStation blog post, they're actually doing quite a bit of work from that. Some people pointed out that, most of the work is done from Miles and they're just transporting it over. That could be the case, but I think we need more details on the actual, game itself. But I wasn't really going into the PS5 expecting Spider-Man to get some free, like, remaster, it's a 2-year-old game, honestly. Like, yeah, I want to see Last of Us Part 2 get a free patch and Ghost of Tsushima because those are recent games and the fall third-party games to get free upgrades, but I wasn't really expecting that for games that were like 2 years ago, considering that would be like a really weird thing for Sony to go back and do. So I'm totally fine for them to do, put in that work and charge a bit, but to lock it behind a $70 paywall because you do need to buy the deluxe edition, it's pretty shitty in my opinion. Nonetheless, I'm still looking forward to it. It's going to be a launch title, and, being able to revisit Spider-Man PS4 is going to be awesome, and I'm looking forward to playing Miles, so yeah, definitely a strong showing there. Hogwarts Legacy was announced. This was actually a big surprise for me because I thought this was going to be an announcement towards, maybe the Game Awards. I guess it makes sense. We just recently got the other two Warner Brother Games announcements with, Suicide Squad and Batman. Obviously, those being DC properties. They were announced at the DC Fandom event. I guess, this was the other, like, third game they had because they were originally going to do, like, an E3 press conference, and here it is at Sony. Doesn't seem like it has any exclusivity, which is kind of nice. Just looks pretty solid. It's going to be a cross-gen game coming out next year, which, I expected. This game did leak 2 years ago, so, this has been something that's been made and at least cooking in the oven for quite a bit of time. If you don't know, this will be a single-player RPG. I know some people had, some confusion over what this game will be. Obviously, it's going to have magic elements given the property. Yeah, I loved Harry Potter as a kid watching the movies, and this is going to be developed by Avalanche. If you don't know, they were, with id Software making Rage 2, and then, of course, before that, they were known for Mad Max. Call of Duty Cold War got a gameplay demo of, I believe, the first mission in the campaign. It looked, like Call of Duty. Alpha's this weekend, it's Call of Duty. Definitely got a new trailer. If you don't remember, this was the game that actually originally just got, delayed last month, I believe in August to Q2 2021. We got a new trailer kind of showcasing a new part of the island. And yeah, some more gameplay. Definitely continues to look really solid. It is a bummer. It did get delayed because obviously this game looks really solid and I want to play it as soon as possible. But given Sony's already stacked lineup, I'm kind of not really feeling the loss of Kenna and Deathloop, considering I'd much rather have a spaced out 2021 in that first year of PS5 than everything hit day one. Like, can you imagine if this was also day one with Kenna? Yeah, especially knowing what we're getting now day one, that would be insane. Rest assured, it's going to be one of the better games coming out next year in the first half of 2021. Now, something I didn't see coming at all was DMC5 Special Edition. Originally, I saw the Capcom logo. I knew it was going to be Devil May Cry, but I had no idea if this was going to be possibly, a 6. It did look like 5 quite a bit, but I didn't know if they're going to just play it safe for 6. But no, we're actually getting a re-release of 5 called DMC5 Special Edition. It's going to have ray tracing. It's going to have a bunch of performance modes and different optional modes. It's going to include some new game modes like Turbo Mode, Legendary Dark Knight Mode, and it looks pretty solid overall. I think the biggest thing everyone wanted from this was Virgil to be playable. Sadly, it is going to be something that's DLC, but yeah, it looks really solid. $40. Comes with 3 modes: 4K 30 with ray tracing, 1080p 60 with ray tracing, or you can get rid of ray tracing entirely and you get uncapped frame rates. I believe they haven't really specified on the resolution there, but I imagine they're not going to hit 4K, over 60 FPS. Still weird that 4K, you can only play the game at 4K, it seems, with ray tracing. I'm hoping there's a 4K 60 FPS mode without ray tracing, considering there's a 4K 30 with ray tracing. If they could possibly hit 4K 60, that'd be great. Rest assured, though, I'm probably going to be picking this up. DMC5 was one of the best, games this generation in terms of just sheer fun and gameplay wise. That game was a blast, and getting that DualSense support, playing as Virgil, man, I can't wait. I'm going to replay the game when it comes out this fall. Resident Evil 8 got a new trailer. I was kind of expecting this. If it wasn't going to be here, it was going to be next week at Tokyo Game Show. There was supposed to be an August update, but that ended up getting delayed till September here. Yeah, looks pretty solid, and I can't wait. Looks a lot better than we saw it last time. There was a bit more revealing. Still kind of in that similar vibe. They're kind of, still keeping a lot of things under wraps in terms of just, not really keeping things under wraps. This game just looks weird as man. But rest assured, I'm actually going to be picking this up. I wasn't really into 7's whole vibe of paranoid, family. I don't know. It's just a weird vibe, honestly. I didn't really have any interest, but this being, in a snowy village, I immediately liked the location. It kind of feels like a hybrid of 7 and 4, if I'm going to be honest, and yeah, it's still coming out in 2021, no time from there. I'm hoping it's going to be, like what Capcom usually does, early release. I really hope they do that, considering we're getting constant trailers right now. I'm hoping that they're going to hit that. And we even got a tease of the merchant at the very end. He looks a lot different, but rest assured he is the merchant. He has to be. Another weird one was Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. I don't really have any interest in the series at all, but I will say this looks pretty AAA for that series. Definitely didn't expect something out of that IP to look this good, so it seems like they're taking all that Five Nights at Freddy's cash and actually, doing something pretty costly there. It looks pretty AAA, so. Now, they ended off with the last game was Demon's Souls. We actually got a really lengthy 4-minute gameplay demo of just raw footage, and easily the best 4 minutes of this whole entire presentation. Demon's Souls to me is hands down the most graphically impressive next generation game we've seen. It's the only game I've really seen where I'm like, this can't run on a PS4. Yes, Ratchet & Clank's also like that for the SSD, and the graphic style, yeah, as well, it looks really good in 4K if you watch that gameplay video that was released at the Gamescom opening night live. But Demon's Souls is on another level, man. That game looks incredibly good, especially since they're hitting 60 FPS with their performance mode. This game's a launch title. I can't believe they didn't include this in the presentation, because I bet half the people that were watching this just left the show thinking, oh, well, Demon's Souls still coming, but there's no date. But I'm like, why didn't they include a release date at the end of the trailer? And I don't know, man, it's just really weird. Rest assured, this is easily the best PS5 launch we've seen. Miles Morales and Demon's Souls day one, yes please. We also got confirmation that Destruction All-Stars and Sackboys come in day one. Going to be a stacked lineup for sure in terms of first party, and considering all the third party around that too as well. It's going to be a really solid time. You consider the best lineup yet for PlayStation wise, day one with exclusives, and then you add in, backwards compatibility. We're not going to have that same feeling we had on PS4 where we're missing the PS3. There's just no way. This is going to be such a way better first year for the PS5 than we saw with the PS4, and I can't wait, man. So yeah, finishing up the show, they did announce one thing that I didn't see coming, another PlayStation Plus benefit for already existing subscribers. Pretty much they're kind of like taking a lot of the PlayStation 4 popular titles, kind of like their hits lineup. Not every single game, I believe there's like a selection of 18 titles if I'm not mistaken. There's Batman Arkham Knight, Battlefield 1, Bloodborne, Days Gone, Detroit Become Human, Fallout 4, Final Fantasy 15, God of War, Infamous Second Son, Last Guardian, Last of Us Remastered, Monster Hunter World, Mortal Kombat X, Persona 5, Ratchet & Clank, Resident Evil 7, Uncharted 4, Thief's End, and Until Dawn. All those games are going to be playable on PS5 if you have PS Plus. If you kind of remember the instant game collection we saw on the PS3, years ago, it's kind of like the return of that, just with like a lot of the big popular PS4 titles. Pretty much if you skipped out on the PS4 generation, or at least the PS4 console, all you need is a PS5 and a PS Plus subscription, and you're pretty much good to go. Like, you don't have to worry about a lot of titles. I think the only games that are missing here are like recent ones like Last of Us 2, Ghost, and Dreams, as well as maybe a few ones like Marvel Spider-Man isn't here because obviously they're doing the new remaster. But other than that, it's a pretty solid lineup of what we've gotten. First party and some of the bigger third party games. Like, I'm already looking at here Final Fantasy 15. I already mentioned earlier I want to still play that game. I don't own it. I can play it now day one on PS5 if I want to. It's free now, so that's great. It's just, you can't complain. That's like a really good lineup of games. And then PS5, we finally got the price and date. I mentioned this in the other video, and obviously you're not hearing this for the first time from me. PS5, $499. Digital edition is going to be $399, a good $100, decrease in price. People wondering why, such a big decrease in price considering optical drives aren't even that expensive. It's pretty simple. Sony's willing to take the loss right now to ensure that you have to buy their games from the PlayStation Store. They're going to make a lot more of a margin that way in terms of profits over time, so it's a smart kind of investment from Sony. That being said, it's also kind of like a marketing toy. I believe they're producing a lot more physical editions, so the digital edition I believe will be a little bit more rare right now, so if you get your hands on one, not to say it's rare, but it's definitely the one that's being produced the least. November 12th is the release date for most of the world. I believe that's United States, Japan, Canada, Mexico, Australia, New Zealand, South Korea. And then for the rest of the world, like Europe's the big one. We'll get it a week later on November 19th. So yeah, overall pretty solid. Jim Ryan ended the show with the God of War 2 teaser, and that's apparently coming next year. People are wondering, is that coming to PS4? Because, the big shocker after this whole entire press conference was Sackboy is coming to PS4 along with Miles Morales and Horizon. Now, my thoughts on this, I kind of alluded to this yesterday. It's kind of somewhere in the middle. Games like Sackboy, I don't mind them being on PS4 considering it doesn't look like it's something that can, only be on PS5. I mean, I think we heard from some insiders that Sackboy actually started as a PS4 game. Same with Horizon. And Miles, obviously, it doesn't look that big of a difference between, what we saw with Spider-Man PS4. That one was like not a shock at all to me, considering it kind of seemed more surprising when we saw that in June coming to PS5 when, the install base just recently bought a PS4 for Spider-Man. So, yeah, all of them will include free upgrades. I don't mind that. The one game I am kind of disappointed with is Horizon. Now, Horizon 2 to me was going to be Guerrilla's big debut on the PS5. They've always been a big technical powerhouse over there in Amsterdam with the, Decima engine. I was looking forward to seeing. I kind of deemed it myself to be the, Sony's big first, PS5 must-have in terms of, a new game. Like, obviously, Demon's Souls looks great, and so does Ratchet, but it doesn't have that big kind of appeal that Horizon did when it was that big old open, world RPG that no one really saw coming. That was going to be at least as big as it was. We saw it sell, like, the most for any new IP in 2017. I was looking forward to seeing the sequel and see how they're going to push the PS5, and I felt like Sony obviously wanted to make it PS5 only because they believe in generations and they want to get that install base over there because it's an exclusive. Seems like that's no longer the case. It will be on PS4. I'm hoping that's not going to limit it, but it seems like, at least in some ways, it has to limit it, right? Doesn't seem like it's going to be the full next generation Horizon that we're all looking forward to. I mean, I'm not going to speak too soon, I still have trust in Guerrilla. We haven't really seen this kind of transition period that we're seeing right now done before as smoothly as it is, so it will be an interesting time. God of War 2 is still unconfirmed, but I believe that will be a next generation title. There was an insider on Reset Era that's been really consistent lately. Pretty much they said that they've been hearing that Demon's Souls, Ratchet, and God of War 2 are kind of like true PS5 exclusives, while Miles, Sackboy, and Horizon are going to be cross-gen, so pretty interesting news there. Just very shady of Sony, considering Microsoft's been getting so much hate this year for being literally transparent with the audience. Sony's just kind of been quiet in their corner, just not speaking about it. And really, it's kind of like the same situation, at least for the first year for the PS5. I mean, granted, we have Demon's Souls Day 1, which will be a PS5 exclusive. Still kind of shady that like most of this first, at least half of 2021, are going to be games playable on PS4. So yeah, very shady from Sony. Just sucks to see Microsoft get so much hate this year for something that Sony's ultimately doing the same thing as well. So yeah, with that being said, make sure to let me know what your thoughts are on all the stuff we got announced at the PS5 Showcase. It seems like this will be the last big event before the PS5 debuts. We still have to see the UI. That's something I was kind of surprised that we didn't see here, considering they teased it back in June. Jim Ryan clarified that we're going to see that in the coming weeks. To me, I don't even care if we see it in the coming weeks. Obviously, this thing's coming out in 8 weeks. We'll see it for ourselves in 2 months if they don't show it. A lot more third-party announcements here than I thought. I thought we were going to see Horizon gameplay, possibly, considering that game's coming out next year, as well as possibly see an update on Ratchet & Clank. But I guess it makes sense to focus on the launch titles, as well as some big third-party exclusive deals, you know, that they have for the first year. So ultimately, I think the big takeaway here is PS5 is going to have an insane first year. Yeah, whether it's going to be for their own first-party launch titles or their exclusivity deals with Final Fantasy 16. And yeah, let me know what you think about this all in the comments down below. I know a lot of people feel like they don't really have a reason to buy a PS5 if they're not looking forward to Demon's Souls. For me, my hype remains pretty much consistently the same. You know, I knew that graphically it wasn't going to be that big of a difference this generation too much right now. Still being blown away by Demon's Souls, but ultimately there's a lot of cool things with like the DualSense I'm looking forward to, and you know, the speed of the SSD just making overall gaming, you know, less time consuming while waiting for these games to boot up. So should be a pretty exciting fall here as we get more details. Really, this was like the big kind of curtain reveal. We got a lot more details that we needed to know now. Sadly, games seem like they're going to be $70. That's something that we learned after the event as well, that Sony was kind of quiet on. Their first-party big AAA titles will be $70. Sackboy is actually $60. I'm guessing that would be like a $50 increase. Pretty much every game kind of tier got a $10 boost increase. So like I imagine Miles was originally going to be like a $40 game if it was on PS4, but that's now $50. Sackboy would have been like a $50 title, but that's now $60. And obviously, you know, Demon's Souls is now going to be $70 from the bump up from $60. So kind of like a $10 increase across the board. I hope we see a lot more, you know, varied pricing. I was really happy this generation with things like Ratchet & Clank being $40 and Knack 2 was $40. I kind of want to see that difference in pricing. I don't think every game needs to be $60. Ultimately, gaming's going to be really an expensive hobby. If you look at the technical, you know, kind of side of things, gaming should have really been, you know, $70 games should have happened either this generation or last generation. They just never ended up happening. So it seems like this has been long overdue for games to be more expensive, but still sucks to see considering, you know, obviously we kind of want to pay the least amount since gaming is already an expensive hobby as it is. Get ready for $70 games. It seems like they are the future going forward. But yeah, with that being said, of course, very strong lineup overall. Make sure to leave your thoughts on everything we saw in this digital showcase in the comment section down below. Follow me on Twitter at OnlineZhD for all the updates on the channel and my personal life. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if this is the first video of mine you are seeing. And until I see you guys in the next video, take care.